said she was. She said she was.
You took my kid's dad from him.
She was in the hospital for 15 days.
Javon Wolford is in trouble for hurting a girl and taking her without permission. He and 3 others tricked the girl into going to an apartment. When she wanted to leave, 2 girls hurt her badly and made her go into a room with Wolford. Later, people found her walking around looking scared, so they took her to the hospital.
I'm thinking it's frustration of being in jail for so long, November of 2013, and the other 4 co-defendants resolving their case.
Schneider said it revealed what kind of person he is.
I think that, we saw basically what this young man, thinks of the system, what kind of respect he has for others.
The video was shown in court, displaying the terrible things done to the victim. Despite his loud protests, deep down, Wolford probably wishes he had taken the plea deal.
What evidence do you have? Let me know. What evidence do you have? What evidence have?
Ms. Schneider says you gave a statement admitting that you had intercourse with...
Where's the evidence? She said she was raped. She said she was raped. Where's the evidence showing that she was raped? Where's that evidence at?
Wolford's lawyer tries to explain away his outburst, but it doesn't make people feel sorry for him.
Right.
And he has until June 19th to decide if he's going to take that plea or not. That plea would be 15 years in Florida prison.
Instead of accepting the deal, Wolford decided to go to trial and risk spending his whole life in prison. He was found guilty and given a 30-year prison sentence. The other people involved in the attack chose to take plea deals. Patricia Montes and Erica Avery each got 4 years in prison. Linnell Singleton got 4 years in prison as a youthful offender. Dwight Henry got 2 years in prison plus 4 years of probation. Some judges don't tolerate outbursts and are willing to take decisive actions. One judge's response was more surprising than anything the defendant said, making people wonder about his decision. Quinbose is facing serious charges of felony domestic battery after his son Parker died. He says Parker stopped breathing while they were napping, but the autopsy showed a strong blow had hurt him. The person who attacked Bose was his own brother, Jeremiah Harley, who cared a lot for his nephew. Harley got hit with a contempt of court charge, even though he wasn't in the courtroom at the time. He had to spend 179 days in jail. Bose got a 20-year prison sentence. This is David Mejia. In January 2016, he was driving past a police car parked by Officer David Starling, who was writing a report. Mejia drove past, then backed up and started shooting at the driver's side door 6 times. Luckily, only 1 bullet hit Starling, and he was able to call for help. Mejia didn't have a valid reason to attack Starling, but he said he felt threatened by corrupt police officers.
Man, I got a lawyer. I got a lawyer too. I was in threat for my life. They were trying to kill me, man.
Okay. I do find probable cause for all of the offenses that are charged. Most of these offenses are no bond.
That's crazy. What about y'all got more blood on y'all than I got blood on mine?
Mejia, who had been quiet and distant until then, suddenly interrupted the judge and started rambling in a confusing way. He blames his situation on the George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin case. However, Mejia has no link to either Zimmerman or Martin. Also, he was the one who approached Officer Starling, so his claim of being in danger doesn't really add up.
Sir, these are non-bondable offenses.
Mejia agreed to a plea deal and got sentenced to 4 years in prison, followed by 10 years of probation. He also had to get a mental health evaluation. Officer Starling had surgery and recovered completely. Mejia's outburst left the witnesses more puzzled than anything else. Being attacked by a distressed family member is already shocking, but what if the whole family gets involved? That's what Wendell McNeil went through firsthand. McNeil was out of prison as part of a work release program, with 2 years left on a 3-year sentence for a gun crime. While he was unsupervised, he fatally stabbed 24-year-old Alan Michael Walker. Walker's family is relentless, and the officers are having a hard time separating them from McNeil. McNeil admitted guilt to second-degree manslaughter and got a sentence of 7.5 to 15 years in prison as part of the deal. Testifying can be risky for witnesses. While many never face the consequences, Anthony Luan wants to make sure his ex-girlfriend lives in fear forever. Luan, the defendant, has pleaded guilty to 4 crimes, one of them being well known in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Last year, he was caught on police video crashing a truck while trying to escape from the Albuquerque police. He then ran into Cracker Barrel and tried to hide before he was caught.
Cell camera shows all the chaos when Luan is spotted behind a display in the front.
Of course, we had all the guests running towards the exit. Okay, and me and one of my other co-workers, we actually started heading towards the front, wanting to help out if we could.
Officers arrest Luan, cuffing him as he's on the ground, and take him outside.
It was a really wild and crazy situation. Something I hope to never have to witness again.
Officers later go back to the truck Luan was in. It's flipped over in the middle of one of the busiest roads on the city's west side.
Luan was also being sentenced for multiple other crimes. He was involved in a road rage incident where he shot at a team, committed burglary, and also physically assaulted his then-girlfriend's son. Considering Luan's violent past, the threat becomes even more unsettling. Fortunately, the judge recognizes the seriousness of the situation.
Judge Flores could have given Luan the minimum of 2 years in prison.
This is Andy Gonzalez, who was found guilty of second-degree murder for the May 2017 shooting of 23-year-old Dondre Bullis, who was unarmed and standing outside a barber shop.
Your mom's going to suffer too. My grandsons have to live the rest of their life without their dad. They didn't even have a dad growing up. So thank you. Thank you for what you did. Because you ruined my life, you ruined their lives, and you ruined your family lives. Because he didn't need no gun to kill nobody. He could have beat your ass up and down the street, you and the clowns that you hang out with. Now my is dead. So you're happy. Thank you. Because I'm happy too. Because yeah, his body is dead, but his spirit lives on. And I know he's standing right here laughing at you. That's why you killed him, right? Because he laughed at you? Because you're a bitch. You're a coward. You already know how life is in prison. And you think you're going to just be happy-go-lucky? Nah, mother. You're going to suffer for the rest of your life. Bent over with your mouth open, being everybody's for the rest of your life. Why did you kill my baby? You ain't got a reason. Mother, you're going to die in prison.
Ma'am.
I know.
I think you need to calm down at this point.
I know. Okay. But I have to live the rest of my life without my son. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry to you. Because you got what you cut. Green light on you. Ain't that what they said? Ain't that what you heard? Good. And I hope you suffer for the rest of your life.
Then, the mother of Bullis's children had a few words for Andy.
But there's not much to say. You're a coward.
Yeah.
You're a coward, and you know if you would have fought him that day, he would have beat your ass. And you couldn't take that, and so you decided to go get a gun because you don't have the balls to fight like a man. You had to come back around and because you know he would have whooped your ass. You took my kid's dad from him. Now they have to grow up for the rest of their life without their dad. And he was a good-ass dad. He spent every single second caring for them and loving them. Yeah. And now they have to go on without him, and I have to go on without him and raise my 2 boys without their daddy. You don't even know what it's like to be a father. You're just stupid. Yeah. You killed him for no reason. You had no right. And I hope you rot in hell in prison for the rest of your damn life. I hope you get exactly what you deserve in prison, and you know what's going to happen to you when you go to prison.
That's, you
God
already know
forgive
what
me,
it is.
but I hate you.
Yeah.
And I hope you rot in hell for the rest of your life.
All right, I think we're done.
Initially, Andy was sentenced to a 65-year prison term. However, a different judge ordered a new sentence that nearly cut the penalty in half. Andy Gonzalez was resentenced to a term of 35 to 52.5 years in prison. This registered nurse testified about how Christopher Gregor, the father of Corey Micciolo, behaved while Micciolo was in the hospital on April 2nd, 2021. Gregor is accused of fatally abusing his son after being granted shared custody.
Now calling your attention to April 2nd, 2021 at approximately 3:53 p.m. Did you treat a patient at SOCH named Corey Micciolo?
I did.
Had Corey been admitted into the emergency room at that time?
He was.
Do you remember Corey?
Of course I do, yes.
Who brought Corey into the emergency room that day?
His father.
When Corey was admitted into the emergency room, what room was he taken to?
In room 6.
What nurse brought Corey to room 6?
Bill Doyle.
Were you Corey's assigned nurse on April 2nd, 2021?
I was.
Where did you first observe Corey in the emergency room?
In room 6.
Was Corey's father inside room 6 when you first saw Corey?
Yes.
Did you speak to Corey's father?
Yes.
Did you learn his name?
Yes.
What was Corey's father's name?
Chris Gregor.
What were your immediate observations of Corey's condition in room 6 at the emergency room?
Corey was very lethargic, pale. He was very sick.
Were vital signs taken?
His temperature was 96.9, I believe.
And what about, was that drawn?
Yes.
When Corey was initially in room 6 of the emergency room, what was the defendant's demeanor?
He showed lack of emotion, kind of emotionless.
While you were in room 6, who else was present in the room?
Dr. Pachati and other nursing staff.
And what about Nurse Doyle?
Yes.
And did he stay in the whole room or did he leave?
He left.
And when you observed Corey in room 6, did you see any bruising on his body?
Yes, we did.
Can you tell the jurors what bruising you observed?
I observed a bruise on his chest, a bruise under his chin, and one on his temple, his left side temple.
While you were in room 6, did medical staff speak to the defendant about a case history relating to Corey?
Yes, we did.
And what did the defendant say about the bruising?
He said the bruising was from Corey playing football and riding his bicycle.
What did the defendant say about Corey's mother?
That she was a drug addict.
What did the defendant say about contacting Corey's mother at that time?
He said that he did not want her contacted.
And what did the defendant say about Corey being at Jersey Shore Medical Center?
That his mom had him there the night before.
What did the defendant say about Corey's symptoms before he was brought into the emergency room?
That he had been vomiting and he was complaining of light and body pain.
Now, that information, did you provide that to someone?
I did.
And who did you provide that information to?
My nurse manager, Jenna Shaw.
And was she working that day?
She was.
Did the defendant leave room 6 of the emergency room?
He did.
And what was Corey's condition?
Corey was very sick. He mumbled a couple words to me. He seized.
Can you tell the jurors what happened regarding Corey's treatment at the emergency room and his condition?
Corey seized, and then his heart stopped. He had stopped breathing. So we initiated CPR. Dr. Pachati intubated him, where he put a tube in his trachea and into his lungs, and ventilation was provided along with CPR.
And what type of CPR was administered?
Pediatric CPR.
And why was pediatric CPR administered?
Because he was a little boy.
And what is pediatric CPR?
It's one hand on the chest.
Was Corey taken for a CT scan?
He was. At one point, we had regained pulses, and we attempted to bring him down a CAT scan, and when we had gotten a CAT scan, he lost pulses again, and we were unable to do it and had to bring him back.
So after that, what room was Corey brought back to?
Room 6.
Did the defendant then return to the area of room 6?
He did.
And were you present inside of room 6 at the time?
I was.
And what medical staff was present in room 6 at this point?
Dr. Pachati, there was some techs and other team members.
Did Dr. Pachati exit the room?
He did.
And what was happening with Corey's condition at this time?
Corey was not breathing. His heart was not beating. He was basically dead at that point.
Did the defendant then re-enter the room at Soch?
No.
At approximately 4:51, did the defendant re-enter the room at Soch?
He did at that point, yes.
And were you present at that point inside of room 6 with Corey?
Yes, I was.
And what was Corey's condition at that time?
His heart was not beating and he was not breathing.
Did the defendant exit room 6?
He did.
And did the defendant then ever come back to room 6 again?
No, he did not.
And who stayed with Corey?
We did. We were the only ones with him.
What time was Corey pronounced?
5:03 p.m.
And were you present in the room?
I was.
While Corey was at the hospital, what, if any, observations did you make regarding any type of bleed or GI bleed?
There was no bleeding present.
If I may approach, I'm now going to show the witness what's been marked S48D, S48E, and S48F. Do you recognize those?
I do.
And can you tell the jurors what those are?
They are CDs of surveillance from the hospital the day Corey was admitted to the emergency room.
So that is surveillance from April 2nd of 2021.
Yes.
And that would be the day that you were the nurse in regard to Corey's care.
Yes.
And you are familiar with the location that is depicted.
Yes.
And you are also familiar with the persons who are depicted on these surveillance videos.
Yes.
Your Honor, permission to play, publish, admit into evidence S48D, S48E, and S48F.
Mr. Gucci, any objection?
None, Judge.
S48D, E, and F in evidence. And permission to publish granted.
Thank you.
A video recording captures Gregor entering the hospital.
Can you tell the jurors who is located on that video?
One of our nurses, Jamie.
And does that accurately depict the defendant leaving room 6 for the first time on April 2nd of 2021?
Yes.
And there was a timestamp on that video?
Yes, there was.
And is the timestamp accurate that was on that video?
No.
You can now go to the next video, please. Can you tell the jurors who is located on that video?
Chris Greger and one of the techs, Richard.
And what area of the hospital does the video show?
The hallway going to the family waiting room.
And there was also a timestamp on that video.
Yes, there was.
Is that the correct time?
No.
Gregor becomes agitated and starts crying.
Now, can you tell the jurors who is located on that video?
Chris Greger, Jenna Shaw, Jamie Jocelyn, one of our techs.
And Jenna Shaw, who would that be? Would that be the blonde?
The nurse manager, yeah, the blonde.
And does that video accurately depict the defendant entering room 6 where you were located with Corey?
Yes.
And does that video accurately depict the defendant entering room 6 where you were located with Corey?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors what was going on with Corey's condition during the time of that video while inside room 6?
We were providing CPR and breathing for him.
And did you see a machine present in that video?
Yeah, Jamie went to grab a Doppler.
And what would be the purpose of the Doppler?
To see if we can find pulses that we can't feel.
And this would have been at approximately 4:51?
I believe so.
And after this time period, did the defendant then ever come back into room 6?
No.
And about how long was Corey treated at SOCH before he was pronounced?
About an hour and 20 minutes.
Thank you, Judge.
Christopher Gregor is currently being held without bail at the Ocean County Jail. If he is found guilty of murder, he could be sentenced to 30 years to life in prison without the chance of parole. If convicted of child endangerment, he could face a sentence of 5 to 10 years in prison. In court, a 23-year-old woman from Garfield Heights named LaCynthia Tidmore faces charges for the hit-and-run incident that resulted in the death of a girl from Euclid. Present in court, the victim's mother delivers a deeply emotional victim impact statement.
Tell your first name and
Twyla, TWYLA. Desire Lemert Mays, wonderful little girl. She affected a lot of people's lives. She was a straight A student. She loved school. She loved to dance. She loved to sing. She was very respectful and very mature for her age. I was very hard on her because I know how society is. At the age of 9, she knew how to cook. She could clean. She could wash dishes. She was so excited to turn 10 because we had this big party planned for her. She was not playing in the street. She was crossing the street to go to her bus stop. We live on Babbitt. I don't understand what I am going through. I am seeing a psychiatrist. I am on 3 different medications. I have tried to kill myself. This is just so unfair. And I would have some type of sympathy for LaCynthia if she just would have stopped. The accident had already happened. She was in the hospital for 15 days because I couldn't let her go. When they caught this dead on arrival means she at the scene. You had to be speeding. No way you was doing 30 miles. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. My daughter leaves out the house at 6:53. Her father leaves right before her. I work night shift. We practiced this for a whole week. So I know my daughter knew how to cross the streets a whole week before this happened. This was the first day that I let her go anywhere by herself. This is what y'all don't understand, the type of mother that I am. I stopped my life for my daughter. And my whole life for my child. She was a good kid. And everybody past that she crossed loved her. The school stopped for all the kids to go to her funeral. This is not fair to me. As a driver, you are obligated to pay attention. Not only your license was suspended when you was driving to begin with, you didn't even have insurance. I don't have no money. I'm an STNA. I won't work my butt off. I don't get child support. I don't get anything. I never went to child support. I took the responsibility once I left her father. That was that. And I raised my daughter for 8 years by myself with the support of these people that you see. These are not just people just coming out the woodwork. These are people who know Desire, who loves Desire, who was in her life. She had 9 birthdays, and my cousin was at every last birthday. Her kids was at every last birthday. I don't have that anymore. And for you to just disregard, you knew what you did, how your tire fell off, your bumper was off. A cone not gonna do that. I don't care that it was construction, a little couple of minutes. A cone wouldn't have done that. A RTA Transit was behind her and blew because they seen my daughter. How you didn't see her? So you that into your phone? Somebody's behind you blowing, warning you that you finna hit my child. You her on the scene. There was no tire marks in the streets. You kept going. Then you called either your mother, your sister, I don't know who you called, but you called for a ride. You went into the gas station. You paid $10 for gas. You was on the phone calling a tow truck. And you took your butt to work like my daughter was not nothing. How didn't you know when you hit something, boom, 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 you're not gonna look up and look in your rearview mirror? My daughter hit your windshield. You didn't see that my daughter was 70 pounds. You didn't feel that? My daughter's birthday is coming up. She gets to see her children. Not only that, Monday, this is why my eye is like this. Why did I even have to cross paths with her at Aldi's when I live on Babbitt? If you was paying attention, this would have never happened. Period. And then for you to be tormenting me, talking about some you don't want no wreck, I didn't even know that was her. I don't go following her. My family's not tormenting her. If we wanted to retaliate, we could have. Her records are open. It's public records. I did it the right way, and I did it by the law, and it still didn't go as planned. Why do she have the leisure to still go to work, to still see her children, to still live, to be on Sis Is This Your Man group on Facebook arguing over her boyfriend that kicked me in my face? How are you sorry? When you see me in the grocery store, you should have turned around and walked out. You didn't do that. You said you don't want no wreck. I didn't even know this was her. I'm not paying her no attention. I'm in a grocery store. I don't even go to the grocery store. I just so happen to do that. I don't do anything. I haven't worked. I haven't done nothing. But I have to sit here and look at this woman who and she laughed in my face like it was a joke. How is that sorry? If I was her, if you didn't walk away, at least you could have been like, Twyla, I know you know my name because you clearly know my face. So you could have been like, I'm sorry, Twyla. You could have gave me a hug. You could have came to the hospital. I'm not that type of person. You did none of that. I would have had some type of compassionate because you are a mother, because you are young. So I would have had some compassionate for you, some type of sympathy for you. But you just disregard him. You're not sorry. You pleading guilty to make a show. This is a show for her. Because when we came to court April 9th, she stood right there, looked at her lawyer and said, I didn't know I hit her. How didn't you know? You might not have known initially because you were texting. But once that car hit my, you knew. You didn't run her over. She fell on the top of your car, rode over your windshield. Your car was undrivable, but you kept going till you made it to 185th gas station. You went to work. You had no intentions on turning yourself in. The only reason why you turned yourself in is because the lady that was at the scene followed you to the gas station and called Euclid Police. That's why. I don't owe you anything. I don't want no apology because you should have apologized at the scene and I would have been way more lenient. She needs to get the max that she can get consecutively. Whatever that is, 1 to 3, 1 to 5, that's 8 years. You really need to get more than that. Because when you see me in the grocery store, how are you sorry? How can you change the hands of times when you initiated a fight? How is that sorry? That's not sorry. When you seen me, I didn't see you. So when you seen me, you should have walked away. You shouldn't have been coming talking about some I don't want no wreck. You got the wrong one. Because I could have retaliated. I didn't. I could have went to your mama's house. I could have went to your sister's house. I didn't do none of that. I let the law handle it in the honor of my, because I know my wouldn't want me behind bars. The type of mother that I am, I don't play no games about my is very respectful. You can ask any teacher, anybody. She's not one of these little bad, rowdy kids. She's not like that. And even if she was, she still don't deserve to die. She can't bring my daughter back because of the injuries that she sustained. And I get that. What I'm saying is, as a human, as a mother, because what type of mother are you? You probably don't even got custody of your kids. So what type of mother you have of your own will keep going. Once you hit her, you should have stopped. You could have been at the hospital praying with us. You could have gave me a hug. You could have said, I'm sorry. And I would have took that. And I would have prayed with her. But you didn't do that. Then you want to talk about you incompetent. How are you incompetent but you steady on the internet? Your sister make a Facebook post just after this happened, calling people, talking about they beat me up at Audie's. Y'all don't know who. Cleveland is big, but it's small. You're on Facebook writing statuses about who coming to court with us. So what y'all gonna do at court? This sorry that she's saying, she's not sorry. This is all a show. Because somebody that's sorry, when she seen me in that grocery store, first of all, there's no contact, so she should have left. And why is she driving? Why is she driving? She drove away. You sit up here playing on your phone, playing in your pocket, all doing your hair like that. You should be in this courtroom crying. You should be remorseful. You should have some empathy as a mother to mother. She don't have no empathy. She doesn't have no sympathy. She doesn't have no morals, and she really do not care. And that's how I honestly, truly feel. But if she would have came at me a different type of way, I probably would be on her side saying, be lenient. I can't do that with a person like that. No way in hell can I pray for her. I can't. I would have. All she had to do was stop. Or instead of calling a ride to pick her up from the gas station, she could have called the police. Clearly she got a cell phone, right? Because she texting and driving, right? So you didn't even call the police. You just disregard who hit somebody and don't look in their rearview mirror. Or who hit something and not look up. So I'm just asking you, I'm begging you, parent to parent, it's unacceptable. Nobody understands how I feel. Like, I don't even know what else to say. Like, she needs to get the max that she can get. Because if she would have came at it a whole different way, I would be right with her, praying for her, and asking you not to give her the max. I even would have changed my story, but once Monday happened, I know she is not sorry. Period. Her and her boyfriend and her sister jumped me. How are you sorry?
Thank you.
LaCynthia Tidmore was sentenced to the maximum term of 8 years in prison after pleading guilty. In July 2018, in Pinellas County, Michael shot and killed Marquise McLaughlin. Sometimes criminals try to lie and deceive detectives, but no matter how hard they try to hide incriminating details, they eventually get caught.
In the Edgewater neighborhood's right off Sunset Point there.
1116
Charles Street, yes.
That's Clearwater address?
Yes, sir.
What's the zip code?
33755.
And what's your phone? You got a current phone number?
5138.
That's your primary phone number?
Only phone, yes.
Okay. Are you employed, sir?
No, sir. Retired.
Okay. Good for you, man.
Well, it never lasts.
I wish I was
Yeah,
retired.
it never lasts. I got to retire for about 13 years, and now it's that time to
Okay.
come back, you know.
Can you spell your first name? Is it common spelling?
Common spelling.
And my-
C-H-A-E-L.
What's your last name?
Drejka, D-R-E-J-K-A.
And what's your date of birth, sir?
8570.
Okay. You mind if I call you Michael?
Yeah,
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, and you can call me George. So just walk through, you leave your house and you drive up to the store?
No, I was coming back from the Wawa down on Missouri and Rosary to get some cash and headed home, stop by the store, go home.
Okay, so you get to the store, tell me, kind of walk me through what happens.
Well, I park my car and that's my store. I'm there every day, plain and simple. And every day there's somebody pulled in the handicap spot there, just waiting on somebody.
Okay.
So I have a pet peeve about it.
Sure.
I, said, do you mind, moving? There's a spot next to her and there's spots out front. I said, would you mind moving and waiting on somebody? And
So there's plenty more spots.
there's plenty more spots, yes. And she took that as an affront that I would speak to her that way. Started getting a little, yelling. And
So you walk up to her car?
actually, I was walking around it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because I parked here, she was here.
Okay.
Okay, so I just checked for placards, plain and simple. And she inquired about what was going on.
Okay.
And that's when I told her, about the handicap spots.
What did you tell her?
I said, it's not very polite to park here when there's other people who need to use this. She says, is it affecting you directly? I said, if my mother-in-law rolls in, yes, it will be. So, there's nothing, there was none of that between us at all.
Okay.
No, nothing. It was just heated words, that's all.
Okay.
How I was speaking to her, I guess.
Okay.
She said, what do I have to do to get my man? I said, well, what's going to happen then? And a little more arguing back and forth, and I never saw what hit me.
She was the driver of the car?
She was in the car. She was the only person in the car.
All right.
That I know of.
You didn't see anybody else in the car?
Tinted windows, almost dark,
Okay.
couldn't see through.
All right. So you guys are talking?
Yeah, exactly. She's out of the car by this time.
Okay.
Standing next to it, that's all.
Okay.
And I got hit from the left side and thrown straight backwards in line with her car. So
Okay.
if you saw the two white ladder lines next to the thing, that's where I was standing. Okay, so I went almost straight back after I got.
What do you mean?
I was standing like this talking to her.
Okay.
I was right here. The shoulder was pulled in front of me, and then I was.
Oh, okay.
And then
All
I
right.
hit the ground.
Okay.
Okay. I'm pretty sure.
We'll get somebody to take pictures of all this.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that too much, but I'm pretty sure I landed my wrist under my. Actually, that's how I landed, because that's hurting like a son now.
So you landed on the pavement?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I was on the ground.
So
that time I had to put hand down to get hand out from underneath. As I come out, I start drawing. As I start leveling off my, he makes his next step towards me, and 21-foot rule. I'm on the ground already.
Right. Okay.
It happened so fast, and that was that.
Did he say anything to you?
Negative. Not a word.
Okay. Did you say anything to him?
No.
Like back up? Or?
No.
Okay. Okay. So you draw your. Talk to me about that from.
Well, the way I was able to draw it, I couldn't level it with one hand, so I had to eventually try and bring my left around for support.
Okay.
And he made his step towards me, and that was that.
How many steps did he make towards you?
Just one step.
Okay. And then that was that. Talk to me about that. What do you do from there?
I made sure there's no other threat around him because it spun him a little bit, and he ran into the store. Immediate threat gone. I did have her as a potential.
No, I mean beforehand, before you fired the.
Ask me the question.
Before you fired the. Once you pulled the.
Yes.
Okay. You said he stepped towards you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
One more step. Right. He made one more step towards me.
And then what do you do?
I didn't say a word. Gun was already out.
Okay. What do you do?
My weapon.
How many times you?
One time, sir.
Okay. So you fired a weapon and then basically just scan.
I ended up standing up, made sure all of the threats were cleared, reholstered my weapon.
Okay.
Soon, the detectives were faced with the terrible act that Draka had committed.
How often do you go to that store? You said
every day.
Every day. Okay. Do you ever have any type of issues with people parking in that?
Once of them. That's it.
Okay. What can you kind of talk to me about that?
Oh yeah, that was a business, a big old septic truck parked there.
How long ago was that?
Many weeks.
Okay.
Don't know.
Like a month, maybe.
Yeah, many weeks.
Okay. Can you kind of talk to me about that?
We had an argument.
What's that?
We had an argument
So
because he didn't like me walking around the truck taking pictures too.
Where was the truck parked?
In the handicap spot.
Okay.
Was it tank truck?
Facing the store as well? Basically the same as the young lady's car?
Except his was easy. They're a local company.
Sure. All right. So you walking around the vehicle, doing the same thing?
Just took pictures that time.
Okay.
Then he got out and confronted me.
Okay. Talk to me about that.
Wanted to come at me. Wanted a piece of me, of course.
Did he say that?
Yeah. Then the boss, then I called his boss, and then that was over. That was it.
Anybody make any threats?
Kick your ass, you know.
Right. Okay. Did you say that back to him? Like,
There's no reason to. He's about 4 foot taller than I am.
Oh, Jesus. So you said local company. What do you mean by that?
Double A. They're right up in Dunedin.
Okay.
And their drivers do that on more than a few occasions.
Is the phone number on the side of the truck?
Sure is.
Okay.
That's one of the bad things about putting a phone number on the side of your
Yeah.
truck. That's why it was called.
Did you take a picture of the phone number or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
All right. So you called the company? You
Sure
said?
did.
Okay.
Talked with the boss.
All right.
Yeah.
What did you tell the boss man?
Told the boss man where his truck was parked, all this, and how his employee was acting after I took pictures of it and such. And that was that. He said he'd work it out with his man. I said, fair enough.
Okay. Any discussion about you having anything like that?
I didn't know. God, no, there was no gun shown.
Okay. Did you have your sidearm on you at
I
that?
always have my side.
Okay. You got a CCW, I'm assuming?
Correct.
Okay. All right. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I'm just asking.
I've been
Okay.
carrying my whole adult life.
Yeah. I
Learned
mean,
to
I
shoot
kind of.
before that.
Sure. I don't blame you. You go shoot a lot?
Not anymore now.
Okay. When was the last time you went shooting?
Years.
All right.
What kind of training do you have before you got your CCW and
Well, besides hunting, my father was a state cop for 20 years, so I've had to drill.
Oh, yeah, about you. You personally, what kind of
Yeah,
training you had?
I trained with my dad a little bit, and
Okay.
I trained with other cops at the range, but as far as formal training, no.
Any prior military, anything like
Oh,
that?
no, negative. 20 years of shift working.
Your dad said that?
Yes, sir.
What kind of drills did he run you through?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean?
You ever practiced from your back or anything like that in the past? You ever practiced from your back in a position where you're on the ground or?
Oh, I've practiced sitting before. I've never practiced laying on my back.
Okay.
But I knew sitting would always come into play at some point in time.
All right.
Besides the fact I was a driver for Uber, so.
Okay.
I've never been on my back before. No.
All right.
Let me ask you a question. You had mentioned that you go to the store all the time, and you had that one incident with the septic company. Any other incidents prior to that? Do you ever have any discussion with the owner of the store?
Yeah, he saw me that day.
No, I mean about these handicap, somebody parking in the handicap spot.
Yeah, I talked to him the day of the septic.
Okay.
Was
Was that Mustafa? Is that his name?
I don't know his name because there's another guy too.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't keep him straight.
What did you tell
Same thing. He saw it parked out there. I gave him the phone number, and you can see the company logo on the side of the truck.
him? Okay.
That was that. There's no reason. He doesn't have any reason to come out and stop people from parking in his handicap
Did you
spot, know?
did you ever have a discussion with the owner and stuff, saying, "Hey, you guys need to enforce this"?
No.
Okay.
That's his prerogative.
Well, I know, but I mean, clearly there's an issue with people parking there. Wouldn't you say?
Oh well, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not always there.
All right. So.
I'm not trying to get in arguments with people either, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Absolutely.
But when they see me doing stuff like that, they automatically think, hey, what's this guy trying to do?
Right.
And
Wouldn't you think that a little bit? If somebody came take pictures around your car?
well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Exactly, but if somebody came take pictures around your car, you'd probably think the same thing, right?
And I'd ask a question first instead of going with the mouth.
Well,
I know better.
Let me ask this: that parking space, and this is just that parking lot in particular. There's actually other like empty parking spaces that are probably closer and have better access to the front door.
That's the only one that has access to that ramp.
In this particular situation, though, if somebody can park right next to the ramp and walk around to it.
No matter how well crafted a lie may be, the truth ultimately prevails. In court, the prosecution was able to uncover the criminal's true identity despite his attempts to deceive.
February 14th, Valentine's Day of last year, when he got into a parking lot altercation at the Circle A convenience store in Clearwater. Those were his words. 5 months later, those words rang true. Because on that day, he got into another parking lot confrontation with a young African-American female named Brittany Jacobs. And her partner, her boyfriend, the father of her 3 children, came to her aid, and he did not drive home that day. As he found himself on the floor of that same convenience store 5 months later in Clearwater, Florida, as his 5-year-old son looked on. Good morning. Yesterday, the day before, we had an opportunity to ask you all a lot of questions. Well, today there should be 2 questions you have of Mr. Rosenwasser and myself. What are you going to prove to us, and how are you going to prove it? What we're going to prove to you during the course of this trial is that the defendant in this case is guilty of the crime of manslaughter. Now, we've watched a lot of TV, we talked about that. We've heard about, premeditated. No, he's not charged with first. We've heard about ill will, hate, spite, evil intent, second degree. No, he's not charged with second degree. What he's charged with is manslaughter. He took the life of another human being unlawfully without any legal justification. And that's what we're going to prove to you during the course of this trial. Now, how are we going to prove it? 2 ways. By evidence, things that you're going to be able to see. You're going to see the video of that incident from start to finish. Things that you're going to be able to hear. You're going to hear the defendant's statements. Things that you're going to be able to take back with you to that jury room when you deliberate. Feel and touch the gun, his holster that he was wearing that day. All those type of things. And we're going to do it by way of testimony. Ladies and gentlemen, witnesses are going to come into this courtroom, and they're going to sit right here, and they're going to take an oath. Now, our goal in this trial, believe it or not, our goal in this trial is twofold. 1, to ensure that Mr. Drake receives a fair trial. He is presumed innocent by each and every one of you. But at the close of this trial, we're going to ask that you take that presumption away. But he, like anyone that walks into a courtroom in our country, warrants a fair trial. And we're going to ensure that. The second thing we want to make sure, by way of the testimony, by way of the evidence, is that you have an opportunity to almost be there, to see exactly what happened, so you can make the decision in this case. You are the judges of the facts of the evidence in this case. the close of this trial, the judge is going to give you the law, and you to apply that law to that evidence. And we're confident you'll do that. And what you're going to learn by the way of the witness testimony. And first you got to start, let's go chronologically. You got to start on that Valentine's Day. A young African-American male was working, Rick Kelly. He was working for a septic tank company. That septic tank company's offices were right around the corner from this convenience store. The convenience store was on the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Douglas Avenue in Clearwater. That business was right around the corner. Rick Kelly's going to testify to you. He's going to tell you since he was a little boy he went to that convenience store. He'd always go into that convenience store. He had such a relationship with the owner of that convenience store, he could pick up items and pay at the end of the week. Pick up items and say, Ali, I've got such and such. And at the end of the week, he'd pay for the items. So on this particular day, Mr. Kelly was at work. He's been working at the septic tank company for some time. He was finishing up for the day. It was a hot day, and he was going to run into the convenience store and grab himself a soda to drink. And that's what he did. Matter of fact, he left his tanker truck running. And this is a big, big tanker truck. He left the tanker truck running. And in the front seat of that tanker truck, he had money. Because what he would do is go to the accounts and empty out septic tanks or fix septic tanks and do that type of thing. And then people would pay him by cash or by check. And he would keep all that money in the front seat of his compartment there in that truck.
To demonstrate Drake's innocence, the defense attorney employed various techniques.
But in order for the state to do that, you have this awesome power to believe or disbelieve these witnesses. That's why when Mr. Shaw says, listen carefully to his interview, absolutely listen carefully to his interview. The one that he didn't have to give, the one he gave what they call after his wife. Listen to what Ms. Jacobs has to say today. Compare it to what she told law enforcement that day. That she got out of that car for a reason, not because she was in fear. She couldn't wait to get her hands on him as well. And that's the sentiment that was conveyed to Mr. Drake. It created this apprehension of fear, a reasonable apprehension of fear. Coupled with a threat, wait till my man comes out. Coupled by the sudden violent push. And then this gentleman, Mr. Castelli, looming in the background. 4 seconds, member of the jury, 4 seconds. That's why there's no premeditation. That's why there's no ill will, hatred, and spite, because it was 4 seconds. 4 seconds, circumstances by which Mr. Drake felt that something was going to happen. And what's important, members of the jury, is at some point the judge will tell you that the danger need not have been actual. The danger need not even have been actual in his state of mind. It's the appearance of danger. If you take notes, take this note. You don't have to, but just the danger need not even be actual. It's the appearance of danger that caused him to act justifiably, excusably, or in self-defense. That's what's at issue here. So look at the video, listen to the testimony, and put it all together. Let's talk about Richard Kelly now that I mentioned. And as I mentioned, members of the jury, as far as the slow motion, members of the jury, the state's gonna play whatever version they want. Life didn't happen in slow motion. I want you to look at it in real time. Count the number of seconds. Play it in slow motion if you want. That's not how it happened to Mr. Drake. Going back a little bit, put the circumstances kind of into context. It may have been Mr. Drake's pet peeve that somebody was parking in a handicap spot. That's not a crime. I heard from members of the jury yesterday, this week, that said the same thing. It's a personal issue to Mr. Drake to have someone park in a handicap spot. That's not a crime. In fact, Mr. Shaw told you perhaps it was wrong for them to park in that spot. And that's all Mr. Drake did. So in your testimony about him looking around behind the car, you'll see what he's doing. He's looking for a handicap tag. That's all he's doing. So if there's any allegation that, well, Mr. Drake felt threatened, you can hear testimony, he didn't even know they were there inside the car. One, he had glasses on, and two, the windows were tinted. He had no idea who was in the car. He's looking for a tag in the rear, goes up front, looks for a tag up front, doesn't find him. At some point, you'll see that the window rolls down, and it's Ms. Jacobs who initiates the contact, initiates the aggression. He went downhill from there. That is the fact. Those are the facts. That's the truth by which you need to go back and determine whether or not a crime has been committed.
The jury carefully listened to both sides, examined all the evidence, and delivered a fair verdict.
State of Florida versus Michael Draca, case number 1809851CF, as to the charge of manslaughter. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of manslaughter as charged. If and only if you find the defendant guilty of manslaughter, then please further find if the state has proven this fact beyond a reasonable doubt. The defendant carried, displayed, used, threatened to use, or attempted to use a the commission of the crime. Yes. So say we all, Timothy J. Kleinman, foreperson of the jury, dated this day, August 23rd, 2019.
All right, everyone may be seated at this point. Sir, you may be seated. All right, members of the jury, at this point, Madam Clerk is going to poll the jury. That just means that she's going to ask you if this is in fact your verdict, and she's going to do it by number. So she'll make eye contact with you, or she'll point to you and then just ask you if this is in fact your verdict.
Juror number 1, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 2, is this your verdict? Juror number 3, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 4, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 5, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 6, is this your verdict?
Yes. Members of the jury, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room, except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. It'll be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. On behalf of everyone involved in the case and the people of Pinellas County, we would like to thank you very much for your time and your hard work. Obviously, it's been a grueling week. We started early. We've stayed here late the last couple of nights. I think it was for you yesterday, and obviously fairly late today. And you've worked really hard. You've paid really close attention. And we would like to thank you very much for your service. And that's what it is. It's jury service. So all of us greatly appreciate your service. Now, we will excuse you. If anyone would like to be escorted back to your vehicles, the bailiffs will do that for you. Okay? Anybody have any questions or anything? All right. All right. Thank you very much. You are excused.
Big thanks to our viewers for joining the courtroom journey with us. Your interest in the stories of justice is what keeps our channel alive.